because of the time constraint, won't take too much time. But just wanted to convey to all the sisters and brothers that alhamdulillah we have approved project now. Alhamdulillah BOP has met a couple times and reviewed the project and project details, and alhamdulillah approved the project. The project is women praying area extension and adding a bathroom and a wudu in upstairs area. And I don't need to say much to the sisters because they know how constrained upstairs is, especially at the time when we have visitors, especially at the time when we have Juma, and especially at the time when we have more than usual people do come in. Actually, just kind of background of what we have today as a current state. Today in current state we have, believe it or not, only 74 praying spaces only. I was a little surprised knowing that because for the brothers downstairs, alhamdulillah, we have 300 plus, and maybe at that time the decision was that will be plenty enough. So alhamdulillah, this is a good sign of our growing community. We have outgrown this place. Even for brothers area also, sometimes you see we have to use the basement and other areas to fill up. So 74 spots that we have today, and also some elderly sisters, and you know, they have to come downstairs for wudu. So that was another thing that we added up in the project, is to have a bathroom and wudu area. So the project is women's praying area extension and the bathroom and wudu area upstairs on the second floor. Quickly, today's agenda, we'll cover the project detail and talk about what is going to cost us to do that, and, you know, what is going to cost us to achieve the praying area extension and the bathroom and the wudu, and we'll talk about that. And then obviously review the detailed project layout and the drawings that alhamdulillah our building and maintenance committee worked really hard in such a short period of time to provide that information that was presented to BOT. So Jazakallah khair for all those brothers who worked really hard to make that happen. And in fact, the first BOT meeting the EC had, we had a project to present to the BOT. Alhamdulillah, I feel very good about our building and maintenance committee team to come up with a project like this and have all the details. And in the second meeting, alhamdulillah, we have an approval. So we'll review the project plan diagrams of the layout, and then we'll get into the timeline. Why this is urgency for us. The urgency, we'll get into the timeline, why we think that it needs to happen in an urgent manner. So that timeline, we'll talk about it. And quickly next up, and a summary. And then also we'll get into the Q&A after, inshallah. So the project details. Right now we have 74 praying area, and inshallah we'll add 100 more praying areas. So total upstairs we'll have 174, which is almost half the size of the downstairs, which should give us plenty of the area to cover for 100 more spaces. So that 100 more praying area, and I think the key thing is the bathroom and the wudu area in the second floor. That's a big plus, especially for elderly and new moms that they need to help out the kids and use the bathroom and have to come downstairs. So that's a project detail. What is going to cost us to do that project? We had multiple bids, actually 3 bids. Once we had some layout, knew what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. The structural engineering came in, they reviewed the whole layout and came up with this proposal. The idea behind this whole thing was how structurally it should be safe and how we can add those spaces. Because not only, I think the praying area extension, as you all know, there was a lot of noise issue as well. So that's one of the biggest things that we also kept in mind, is how we can take those issues that we have today and how we can help and improve those areas that can help the sisters. So the project cost that you see is just adding the praying area upstairs will be $100,000, and adding the bathroom and the wudu area is going to be $31,000. Contingency fund is $3,000, and the total estimate cost is $135,000. Now we all know, I mean, you know, construction projects, I mean, we have done projects at home too, right? So when you say some amount, and then maybe there will be some add-on to it. So I am thinking there's going to be a plus or minus 10%, but BOT has approved this amount, but inshallah, if there's anything contingency fund should cover, but if not, if there's anything else, then we'll go back to the board again for any additional cost that is required. But the construction team really feels comfortable with this number, and that's the number that we presented, that we should cover most of those costs of $135,000 for this project. So that's a total process needed to build that. And the layout, I don't know if you can see that. If you turn the lights off and that. So basically, what do we have today is we have a railing. We have a railing right here, as you see, these dotted line. Dotted line is a railing part that we have today, and this, all that area is all exposed. And the way it's showing right now, it's showing all the carpet. But so this railing is going to go away, obviously. So that's going to the wall there is going to turn down, and we're going to bring the whole praying area all the way up to the wall here. And the windows that you have now, they're going to be relocated upstairs. So you there's ventilation, and those windows are openable, so you can open and have some ventilation. So this will cover all the way to the front. So now the reason that we're saying that we're going to have 100 spaces, then again, this is what the structural engineers confirmed and verified, that because this area is going to be much wider than this, we're going to have much bigger or rows here in the back. So that's where we're adding up those extra spaces that we're getting. And then you know, some of the areas here is showing a carpet. Actually, it's not going to have a carpet, because as we know, when you go upstairs, and then there's a tile area here, which takes us into the back room there, and that whole area is going to be tiled, and the bathroom and the bundle area is going to be back there where there's an open area today. So that is kind of general layout. Like I said, they came in, evaluated, looked at all those, you know, there's columns and beams today that we have, and so this is the bare minimum construction cost that we can incur if we do that. Then there was another phase that we looked into it, how we can extend that whole area up front, and you know, can we add more lobby in the front? Those are also could be add on to the phase 2, but this will be just the phase 1 that we think that we're going to start with, which is going to help our immediate need of adding those 100 spaces and adding the bathroom and bundle area.
And we have coat closet there also, right?
Well, coat closet is not showing in the drawing, but if you're going to the bathroom, this whole area, you know, that is going to be all coat closets and you know, and the shoe racks. So that's a layout. I know you might have questions, so we'll save those questions till we come back and finish up the presentation, and inshallah we'll take the question. So that's a general layout. Urgency. The urgency. Why we think it's urgent? Obviously, we want to do this for the timing wise. You know, the most usage time is during the month of Ramadan. You know, the adding more space, the noise level, and all those things that we know is much more needed in the Ramadan time. So now that the project is approved, I think there's, you know, we strongly feel if we move on quickly, I think we can accomplish of having this done, inshallah, before the Ramadan start. So that's our goal, that's our target. And that's why it's showing that, you know, there's an urgency to get this thing started quickly. So quickly on the timing wise, 2 weeks we kept it for architectural drawing, vendor selection, which we already have some formal bids from the vendor, but until we have a strong structural drawing that has to be approved by the city, and you know, the architecture and the builders cannot give us a firm proposal, so they have given not to exceed, but those are the details we'll get into for the drawing. And then after that, I think it's the task for all of us starts. That is the fundraising part of it. So inshallah, the goal for us, all of us here, is to raise this money so we can cover our construction costs. So I have no doubt in my my mind, alhamdulillah, our community, we're so blessed to have this community that anytime that we have any fundraising, any projects, we have over-exceeded our expectations. So alhamdulillah, I'm expecting the same, inshallah, for this project as well, because this is a must and this is a need for our community. So the timeline of the project for fundraising will start, inshallah, March 1st, and we're hoping that we can finish up the fundraising by end of April. And in the meantime, the construction will start. We'll get it going, and inshallah, the goal is to have that done before July 15th, our deadline. As we all know, Ramadan is starting on July 22nd, so we're hoping at least a week or two before that we'll have that complete. That is the general timeline. I know during the construction time there might be some inconvenience for the sisters and all that. We have to go through those detailed plans with the construction committee, which we haven't done it. And inshallah, there is a plan in place. We'll review that, and all those things will be communicated clear for everybody to be on the same page. So inshallah, we'll do that. So that's an urgency. That's a timeline for this project. Quick next steps. Alhamdulillah, our sister Rabia Bhatti has graciously accepted to be the lead for this project. So, and she, when during this presentation time, I have been keeping her appraised, and we were talking offline, and I can tell you the excitement that I see in her. Alhamdulillah, I know this is going to be a really successful project because she will be leading it. So now I request Sister Rabia Bhatti to come in and talk about some next steps, and after her presentation, inshallah, we'll take the questions.
Yeah, I'm excited because you see, we need the space. I'm the one who prays upstairs along with all my sisters, and we are really cramped. We can't pray easily. We are sort of hitting each other. There are shoes sitting in front of the stairs. I'm afraid some elderly sister will come one day and fall down and break her hip or something, because there are shoes all over. I mean, you guys have no idea how bad it is. So we think, and we are growing, alhamdulillah, it's a growing community. We have grown from, I guess in the beginning when the mosque was planned, you thought that there would be 75 community family members here or women here, but now we have, mashallah, more than 300-400 sometimes, and especially in Ramadan. So we need the space, and it's a great time, it's a wonderful time that Allah has given us the opportunity to grow and expand our mosque. And the thing we have to remember is this mosque is not for now, it's for the future generations too. And I think that, we are not going to be here in the next, 50 years, but our children will be using the mosque, and we need the space to allow our sisters to be an important part of this community. And that's another thing I want to bring up, which is great about our community here, is that I brought up this point when we were talking about the Board of Trustees and I was doing the debates, and you listen to this. You think that sisters and women are an integral part of this community, and so this was made a main project for the Executive Committee and the Board of Trustees, and I really appreciate that. I can't tell you how many times women will bring up points for discussion and change, and they are not really heard. So this is a great thing about our community, so I really applaud you for that. This is not a formal presentation, I just put up some points. I don't have any research or data here, but this is just to tell us how we're going to go about doing it. So firstly, we need funds. How do we make this place, this new extension? We cannot do it without funds. And in the past, we have used funds from a few members of the community, and that is great that a few members of the community have been able to create, a whole mosque here. But I believe that our entire community should be responsible for the expansion. I really think so, because each one of us should feel ownership in this mosque. It's not 10 families that should be saying that we built this mosque. We all want our reward now and in the hereafter. And the only way to do it is to be, each of us should be held accountable for generating funds for this mosque. And we can all contribute. No contribution is too small. I think that every single one of us, including our sisters and our children, should be made a part of this project. And the only way we can do this is by, spreading the word around. That this is what we are doing, and we want everybody to be involved. If you look at our neighboring churches and our other, synagogues and all, you see that they do fundraising all the time. They want every member of the community to contribute, and they do it every week. In their Sunday congregations, etc. We don't ask our community to contribute every week. And I don't know if that's something we can think about later, but our community is growing, mashallah, and they are really, it's a diverse community, but I think they should be contributing if they want to use the facilities of the mosque. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So, I'm sorry, I'm in that. So how do we raise the funds? So firstly, I need a team of volunteers. I'm a busy person like all of you are. I work at, kids and everything. So I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. And I just said now we want the whole community to be involved. So I'm going to start by asking volunteers from the community. And obviously I'm looking at my sisters here, and there are a lot more who have actually expressed an interest, because they all feel passionate about it like I do. So I'm going to pass out a sheet of paper, and I want all the emails of everybody who wants to be part of this team, and then we can start looking into how we're going to raise the fund. And obviously this paper will go to the brothers too, so you are, you can sign in too for the team. And so we need the volunteers to determine strategies for how we're going to raise funds. I've actually never done any fundraising in my life, so I have kind of, helped out in certain ways, but I don't know how to raise funds. So I've been on the internet trying to read about it. And I asked Sister Arshia and some other people here who have done raise funds. And so we have some ideas about how we can do this. But again, I think the goal would be to reach out to the entire community. I don't want 5 or 6 people contributing and saying that we built a women's expansion. And that's, so we have to talk about how we can do this. And then, Brother Shad and I talked about possibly doing a fundraiser by mid-March. And we're putting up these ideas, but I want everybody to look at them and then give us your opinion. So that I don't want anybody telling us in July that nobody asked us how we should be doing it, and we don't like how it was done, and it should be done in a different way, which is sometimes we are doing this, in retrospect, we are complaining about how the process was done, and the community was not given enough involvement in the process. So what are the ideas? Fundraiser with a speaker, and have the community, donate at that time when we do the fundraiser. Involve our kids, bake sales, walks. I know these bake sales will not raise much money, but again, it gives the children an idea that they are an owner of the mosque. And can you imagine, I was telling my 11-year-old daughter yesterday, and she goes, oh, does that mean that if I contribute, I have a part of that little prayer area? I said, yes, that will be your area. So we need to get the kids involved, and then we obviously need to approach our major donors and get matching contributions from them. And another thing we thought about was bid on the prayer spaces, like we did with the parking spaces. So we say there are 100 prayer spaces. Each space is worth $1,000, and then you can do a paddle raise where you can raise your paddle and say, okay, I'll pay 500, and somebody raises and says, and this is the idea we had at one of our sister's house that we can do this. Another idea is to have 200 community members pledge at least $500, which most of us can make it, and 200 to 500, that comes to 100,000 right there. So we have to kind of think about all these ideas, and so I need your help in this. And I was thinking, like, in the mosque, in the churches, they put these thermometers outside the church and they put the marks on them. I don't know if we want to do it here in this sub-zero, freezing temperature here, but we can put the thermometer inside in the lobby and show, our contributors how much they've raised. Donation boxes, gathering donations, which we all do anyways, and then any other ideas. I'm out of any further ideas. So I'm now opening it for discussion. So please go ahead and let's talk about this project and make this our project, not one person's project, but this Brother Isham's project of mine. Thank you.
Any questions? We'll start, inshallah, for the floor for the questions. One things that Mr. Rajamati just mentioned about the fundraising. I was at the fundraising last night, and a lot of money was raised, or at least the fundraising part of it. They said the money was coming from the sister side, because most of the checkbooks are owned by the sister. So so inshallah, we will be looking forward for all the help and support. So all good ideas. I think that those are all good suggestions. In the past, we also have done the bar chart of saying how much we have collected in Ramadan, especially we have done that. So a lot of those are really good techniques. Inshallah, we'll do that. So I will open the floor for questions.
I know. So what during the construction phase, how many of the spots will be available, and will anybody be able to come downstairs and pray, or how are you accommodating it during the construction phase?
When the construction is
Like where will everybody pray? And
very good question.
Yeah, it's an excellent question. The question was, what we're going to do during the time of construction, where the sister's going to pray. Excellent question. That's what I was saying earlier, that those are the details that inshallah we'll be working out. But obviously we have the basement or the lecture hall here, but I don't know how much we can use upstairs. Maybe we might still use some portion of it, and then some might be. So those are the details, inshallah, we'll work it out with the construction community. Obviously, the first thing we want to make sure that it's safe for our sisters. So we'll do everything we can to make it safe. So keeping that in mind, I'm waiting for building and maintenance committee to propose those ideas, and then inshallah we'll be communicating that. Brother Wasim?
First of all, congratulations to the board, to volunteers for an outstanding project that you've taken. So past due, and we wish you best of luck, and we'll do our level best. One suggestion from a practical point of view is that this information needs to be disseminated to every member of the community.
Yeah.
And towards that end, I would suggest that there's an upcoming family day.
Yes.
Where we have more people than the usual Sunday group, and we also have other occasions like Friday and women meeting. So we should repetitiously talk about this.
Right. Exactly.
And I would suggest for your consideration that during the family period we have a formal presentation like you did, if logistically possible, to have that done. If you can get together the group for 15-20 minutes and then create the momentum and the velocity ground up. Just a suggestion, tactical.
I think we were thinking, we talked to actually Marianne just now about this too, that she said we could set up a table there saying that this is for the Women's Prayer Extension area, the Women's Prayer Extension project, and then we can get donations at that time too. But before that, I think you're right that we should be sending out the emails, and Brother Shah is very good with that, but we'll incorporate all that we talked about today maybe into that email and send it out to this.
Inshallah. I mean, the reason, I'll come back to you, Dr. I just wanted to respond to the question. I think we were waiting for this presentation to happen, because obviously it got approved, it was communicated, we want to present to the community, so this was a kickoff. And then the next step will be, inshallah, to outline all those details, what the next step is going to be and how we're proposing. One of the things that, thanks for, Wasima, your suggestions on the family day. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of crowds, so there's going to be focus on how we will have that day captured with, with having a booth or having a bake sale or something that we can, inshallah, will do on the family day. And also, I think last few years that I've seen, regarding the fundraising event here, I don't see a reason for us to go outside and do fundraising. I think our community, we should be able to do it here rather than incurring any cost of doing it outside. So those are some of the areas that inshallah we'll be looking at it and doing it, come up with some creative ways of doing it. And I like the idea of having kids engagement, because this is where they will feel the ownership, they will feel connected, they will feel, so inshallah we'll do all those having the kids involved. Dr. Hassan.
Well, I have a treatment. First of all, I am very thankful to Sister Rabia to take a lead. It is very important. I have been arguing for this for the last 20 years that we need more sisters representation in our administration, in the board as well as, in the executive committee and all. So it is very important that we should really encourage particularly the young sisters to come forward and to take the kind of leadership role. So in other words, this is one good thing, in other words, hopefully, and I hope that Sister Rabia will come up, with further even kind of, inshallah, leadership. So I wanted to say that. The second thing I wanted to share is historical fact, which I am sure that my sisters will be very pleased to hear that. Our Islamic history tells, and I'm not talking this just as a kind of, it is a historical fact, that 60% of the awqaf, which mean all the masajid and madaris, in the history, until almost 1930, until the end of the Ottoman Empire, 60% of all the kind of religious, whether these were madrasa, whether these were mosques, whether these were mausoleums or shrines, were supported by the rich women. 60%. It is not a kind of, it is very interesting. And particularly from the Ottoman Empire, almost 80% was from the sisters, in other words, from the women, the queens and the sultan family and the princes. And that is, I hope that our sisters will take this thing and encourage all of them to kind of contribute in that.
So what he's saying is the women have to do the fundraising amongst themselves.
No, I just wanted to let you know the history. That's okay.
What Dr. Asi is saying that Ottoman Empire, we're a family of Ottoman Empire sisters, so I think he's saying that
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, you're right.
But the point which I wanted to, basically I wanted to have in the terms of fundraising is two. One, I 100% agree with you. I think there is no need, basically, when we arrange big fundraiser in the hotels or that, I don't think we come up really bigger benefit. We spend more, lot of hassle, lot of kind of work, of volunteer work, but you really do not get much. So it is better should be community based. So I 100% agree with you. The second most important thing, what I would say is that until this project is completed, I would say that our Friday collection, okay, and in the mosque we should that, so every Friday whatever collection comes will go to that fund. And we should not allow anybody until this project is completed to come and raise funds and take the money.
That's great.
Okay, so this is what I 100% strongly. Many of the bigger Islamic centers have now made a principle that they do not allow, because there are now many organizations, charitable organizations, small organizations, whom I call the kind of small Islamic shops. They go from masjid to masjid, raising a fund and creating their own kind of, becoming the CEOs of this Islamic thing and this Islamic thing and this Islamic thing. And really what it is hurting the community to establish the proper institution. Okay? So the result is that we have 100 small mosques or 100 kind of small shops, but we don't have any big mosque, okay, which could kind of put impact. We have not a single Muslim institution which can say, okay, that it represents. So this is, I think, it is very important to have that. That would be very good.
I think all those points are really well taken, especially I'll answer the last one. It was a comment, but we have already made that decision that inshallah the month of March, April and May, until we complete our project, we will not have outside donation source come in and do the khutbah. So Brother Jassim is already aware of that, and we're cognizant of that. Inshallah, we'll do that. Not having somebody from outside to come and raise, I think it's a good point.
So once you have completed the project by Ramadan, that gives us 175 spaces for women. Is that right?
175, close, yeah.
So does that meet the immediate expectation, or in terms of space needs, or for the next 3 years, are we covered based upon our expectations, or are we immediately full again at 175?
Excellent question. I think brother is asking a question. Adding this 100 space, where is going to lead us to? So to answer that question, today we had 74 spots. We started the masjid at 74, and so far we have come long ways, having that spot. So the 100, or the total of 175, I'm thinking that the way that our community is growing, I think within the next 3 years, we might outdo this. And we might have to come up with a plan again, how we're going to extend this or add some extension or something like that. So at least I'm thinking, based on the growth of the community, I'm thinking that we should be good for the next 3 years with that 100 spots.
But you know, I think if
175.
you look at that plan, you know, there are these classrooms next to that area. I think eventually what I think will happen is we will end up taking over that area. And the classrooms will have to be, we may have to do an extension or whatever, but that doesn't seem to be.
Actually, that was a project at one time, is to use that as a playing area, but then, yeah, so, and then the classroom school came in, and that's why it was constructed as a school classrooms area. So the plan was to use that area for Sister Spring in the past when they were starting the layout of the masjid.
I mean, you know, unfortunately up till now we have been reactive. You know, when the needs come, we are reactive and we just take care of that part or that need at that time. Board of Trustees is inshallah going to sit down and come up with a strategic plan for the masjid for next 4 or 5 years. And then we are going to share it with the community. And inshallah, part of that project is to see where we will be in 5 years from now, what our needs are and how to address them. So that is, inshallah, is the next big project for Board of Trustees after the construction is complete.
There's already on a BOT agenda for discussion of the strategic planning and where we're going to be in 5 years from now. I think that's one of the topic of discussion. So,
Has ever been discussed the extension of the prayer hall in Agwal or?
That's all on the table. That's all on the table. Actually, executive committee has shown us a plan to extend the existing prayer hall, the main prayer hall also. But of course, it's $1 million project, more than $1 million project. So that is kind of tabled for now, and the immediate need, which is for the ladies, is addressed. You know, inshallah, once that immediate need is taken care of, we're going to take a step back and see where we are going to go next for next 5 years, and then inshallah that we share with the community and we'll address it.
just a quick comment on it. Personally, I feel, you know, I think we're doing the right thing. You know, we don't want to have such a large masjid and we don't have people coming in and all the spaces are not being utilized and all that. So let's fill it up, bring more people in, and have it, and then based on that, I think the growth plan should be put in place. So I think we're ready now. Alhamdulillah, our community is growing, so I think we're ready for the next phase. But this intermediate or urgent step is to have the praying area extended. I think this should cover a lot of that, especially during the Ramadan, the noise level. I know sisters have always been talking about, tone it down and all that, but it's natural that, you have the lobby area and that's where, all the noises will come. So that, inshallah, will definitely go away.
It seemed from the drawing that the women in the back row would be almost backing up against the wall and the window. And I'm wondering, from a safety point of view, is that very safe to have them so close to the window? Children. The one behind you. So you're praying this way, right? So the women who are in the very back, it seems like their backs are up against window.
The main door now.
Yeah.
I'm
just wondering about building code, regarding building code violation.
You brought up a question where one of the architects also brought up saying that, normally this will put right in the front, so, in terms of safety and security and all that. But the good news is we do have a plan to address that. I didn't want to, ask BOT for too much money and approve, the construction committee actually have come up with a plan how to address that also. And we want to tackle that as a phase 2 project. Basically what that project is going to give us is at the lobby area that we don't have today, that openness that is going to, somehow is going to have 9-foot ceiling, so that all is going to be covered all the way to the windows. So you don't have that openness. So the construction committee and the architect has come up with a plan of how they can extend this all the way in the front and make that as a lobby in the front. So what that is I have drawings. If you want to stop by after this and share, is in an extension right here. So this way it becomes a lobby and openness. So then what that does is that eliminates that issue of you're saying sisters being closer to the wall. So
More and more I'm concerned about, since the women are upstairs, that tend to be a lot of small children upstairs too. And I'm just asking from a safety perspective.
No, but there's no open balcony there.
Not balcony, but are your walls back right up against the window?
But right now, we have an open balcony that the ladies that are praying in chairs put their chairs up against. These kids stand on the chairs, they're leaning over the railing, and I'm surprised nobody's fallen off yet. So I think the wall is actually going to be a safer option than what we have right now.
Okay. As long as we get, building code.
No, I think
Yeah, as long as I-
yeah, of course, we
Yeah.
can't do it without getting.
yeah.
Okay, so I really like everybody to give me their emails, and then we can try, coming up with a plan on how we're going to execute this, because we don't have much time, and we want to kind of get going with it. So, are there the brothers who would like to volunteer to be on this?
I think some brothers have already signed up.
Yeah.
I've seen some go through.
Okay,
so,
good.
And inshallah, we'll also reach out to others who are not present today. Reach out to them as well to be part of this, inshallah. And any other questions?
Just one more question again. Alhamdulillah, the project, is long overdue, so we're doing it, that's good then. Has it been discussed to extend this inward rather than outward, into the Bay Area?
Yeah, that was another proposal that was, what Brother Masood is asking is, right now we have this mezzanine here. Have we looked into going more into the playing area in there rather than, outside? That was also, one of the options was explored. Again, based on the city codes and all that, and then the openness, again, there was a lot of things that the construction committee came back saying that this is the better option that we have on the table. Any other questions? Okay, yeah.
Jazakallah khair, Irshad. Very good project. Alhamdulillah. Whether you have considered for any, could you please give a little shed light on the second phase of the project? What you're talking about, some classrooms, some things like that, so that people can hear about that, please?
It's a little premature yet. We still, obviously we have to have a plan, like Lucy was saying, how we have to have a plan for the next 2 or 3 years. And so one of the areas that we were thinking is, if this is where we want to be at a phase 1, so what is a phase 2? So phase 2 part was having this whole area come up front and then go all the way and then have classrooms here, both level, the basement level and the first floor level. And then also there's going to be some conference rooms here and some other areas. So could be potential library and some of those things that, so those are some of the preliminary, I should say, brainstorming ideas that we are looking into. We got some cost. In fact, we wanted to present that with the next, BOT meeting about this project, but it was too premature to do that. You don't want to, just by doing this, the cost was $1 million, $1.5 million. So what we did was, the executive committee, look at what is the really value added for us. What is that $1 million going to do us? We don't want to just do it because it's nice, or what is really needed for the community. Obviously, this is much overdue, like Masood was saying. So this is one we're going to tackle. And the second one is for the $1 million. Should we even pursue going this path of adding anything up here, or having a multi-purpose room with a gym and a lot of other things that will address our youth, the praying area and all that multi-purpose, area. We have a property here over here. So those are some of the things that we want to evaluate as the next steps. Any other questions?
The reason why I was asking about the second phase, many of us are thinking about the beautification, the whole, the lobby area will be gone once we come up with this one. So
yeah, the lobby area is actually going to be closed out here, but only thing that you're going to lose is that the second floor openness that you have today. But again, I think for us to really take a step back and look at it, what is our priority? Our priority is openness or adding more 100 spaces for the sisters. And obviously go with that first of adding more spaces, because that's more priority for us, for addresses our overdue need for our sisters to have more spaces. And then down the road, like I was saying, there's a project actually, drawings are getting built as we speak, is adding up this extension area with a nice, Muslim architecture is working on it. The cost is not that much, it's $60,000 to $70,000. So if that becomes phase 2, then inshallah we'll present that as well as part of the phase 2 for addressing those openness and other things that we don't have or will not have after this project is implemented, inshallah. Any other questions?
What is the cost or estimated cost of the second project? Second option.
Second option, the front one here is just this lobby. The preliminary drawings and an estimate was $60,000.
What?
$60,000.
Just for the lobby.
Just for the lobby, I'm talking about just the lobby expansion. I mean, these are the rough numbers. They haven't put any drawings and all that. They're putting some drawings, so we'll address that as a phase 2 part of it. If that becomes a need, then that something that we can also present the BOT for the idea of having a lobby. Basically, what that does is I have a drawing showing how the lobby is going to be. Basically, it's going to have 2 open doors, and so you can stand there in the lobby. That will become a lobby. And then there's going to be 2 doors when you come inside, and then that starts another.
That's the real good thing, about the 2 doors. We can save a lot of
energy and yeah.
It is basically we are talking at the most $100,000.
If not to exceed. If you have to ask me today, I think that's a number, $100,000 will be the
That would be, I think, that would be much more better. I would say. That really is. And I don't think that. The other project that basically what many of the synagogues and the churches I have seen, what they do have is they have one big, what you may call big hall. And in that big hall they have foldable rooms, okay, in which, for example, they run their Sunday school, their Saturday school, in other words. But on Sunday they have a service there. We are 1,000 partitions. That would be, I think, what would be needed later on. Okay, so instead of, but this would be really a good idea to have the lobby and all that.
No, I agree, Dr. Asia. There are a lot of options like that. I mean, that's what we were thinking in multi-purpose room. That's what we're calling that as a multi-purpose
that is a bigger
room. Then you can have a break it up, use that as a classroom, or openness for the banquet hall, rentals and all that. So, Brother Khalid.
Is there already presented to the village? They already got the permit for it?
We are working on the permit, like I was saying earlier. I know you joined in a little late, but we are working on a structural drawing. You need to have a structural drawing to be presented to the city and the council. So we're working on that.
Is that not a good idea? You guys can get the approval or get the village now. Then when it is sometimes it's time saving.
I agree. That was also discussed, I had all the phases up front and presented and to implement as it goes by phase. Yeah. Okay. Inshallah, good idea. Jazakallah khair. I think we're out of time. So we will, inshallah, conclude. And I really want to thank everybody to be here. And, we're looking forward for everybody's support. Like Sister Rabia was saying that all the feedback that you want to give us, inshallah, we're looking forward for that. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.